Let's have a quick talk about foreign policy. Over the past something like 70 years, our sole source of foreign policy has been our military. From Korea to our initial meddlings in Iran, to Vietnam, to Panama, Nicaragua, all of the South American democratically elected leaders that we overthrew or assassinated, and all of the hundreds of thousands of civilians that lost their lives in these conflicts. Let's look at that. Let's look at what our foreign policy is. It's one of military aggression. The single most prevalent tool that we've used has been our military against these smaller countries who cannot threaten us in any way, shape, or form. Let's look at Iran, since it seems to be such an issue right now. We have bases in Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. We're not just talking about army bases. We're talking about marine bases, navy bases, air force bases. We have the 5th Fleet in the Persian Gulf. We have the 7th Fleet in the Indian Ocean. We have Marine, Air Force, and Army bases in Afghanistan. Look at a map, people. Please, look at a map. Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the Persian Gulf, the Indian Ocean, Afghanistan. Iran is completely surrounded. How would you feel if your country was surrounded by another foreign power who had been a proven warmonger over the past century, for most of the past century? How would you feel? You'd feel intimidated. You'd feel like you need to do something to fight back. When your country does not have a military that can contend with that, when your country does not have the ability to produce enough gasoline for its own people, when your country can barely feed itself, what do? You resort to means in which a single individual can do mass damage. That's called terrorism. A lot of countries have been involved in this throughout time, through bombings or mass killings or whatever. You know, during the American Revolution, some of the Americans were deemed terrorists by the British. They weren't terrorists; they were patriots. I don't support the atrocities that the terrorists have enacted upon us. I don't support the 9/11 airplanes going into the World Trade Center and into the Pentagon. I don't support any of that. But I don't support, neither does our military, a foreign policy where we only use our military to influence other countries. Why do I say that our military doesn't support this? Because they support the one candidate who does not want to continue this foreign policy of military aggression and intimidation, and that's Ron Paul. We have 900 bases in over 150 countries around the world. We're paying for that. We're paying to defend somebody else's country. Now, the next question is raised, or the next position is raised. Well, if we evacuate all of those, if we bring all our troops home, a vacuum is going to exist and another country is going to step in. No. Besides Russia going into such places like Georgia, we are the only country in the past 80 years who has gone in to other countries to meddle in their affairs or impose our will. Where's your history behind your filling of this vacuum? It's nowhere. Now, Huntsville, Alabama. This is really directed toward you. because you are funded by Redstone Arsenal, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, McDonnell Douglas, Raytheon, and all of these other defense and or security contractors. Don't let your greed, don't let your avarice detract you from what you say is your support for your troops. Your troops support Ron Paul 3 times more than they support all of the other candidates combined. They support them more than Obama. Why don't you listen to them? You assume to support them. Follow them. Support your troops. Make America great once again.